Hello and welcome to West Country Wanderings. Welcome back to the Severn Way. This is the Stourport Canal. I'm back here in Stourport-on-Severn and today we're going to walk to the City of Worcester. Without much further ado, I'll need to crack on because we've got a long walk ahead of us, nearly 13 miles to be precise, but we should see couple of beautiful villages along the way, also two stunning churches as well as the remains of a castle, so why not join me again here on West Country Wanderings. Before we set off though, just enough time to tell you that building there was once the toll office on the canal to collect the fees for people wanting to use the locks and heading down to the basin and joining up with the River Severn. We'll also do a very quick tour through the town, which I didn't have a chance to do. Some of you will know why that is if you've seen that other video. See if we can do that before we head down and rejoin the Severn Way. So currently at York Street Lock, and this is one of several locks that takes the canal down to the Stourport-on-Severn basin, which we saw towards the end of Severn Way 16. There's also something interesting just across the road, which I do believe is also canal related. Let's have a look. And we enter the old toll house, and here we have the old ticket office. I'm not sure if that maybe was for collecting funds for the boats that were berthing up in the Stourport basins. Looks like a delightful tea room there beside the canal as well. This is Stourport-on-Severn. This is one of the main thoroughfares through the town. Has some very large buildings here. And as I said previously, this town didn't exist until the canal arrived. And this is one of the other main thoroughfares through the town with all the shops along it. We'll have a closer look at that before we head down to the canal basin. So we've just gone under Lower Mitton Bridge, bridge number 5 on the Staffs of Woods. The numbered starting at number 1 down by the canal basins where the canal joins Sabrina. It's a lovely spot here. You wouldn't believe it, right in the town centre. I've just had that busy traffic as you saw walking through the high street, and this canal runs exactly parallel to the high street. Just the other side are those apartments there. The start of the basins, the town centre bit if you like. We're going to follow the canal all the way down until it meets Sabrina again, and then we're going to start our walk along the Severn Way towards the City of Worcester. But we'll be stopping off at least a couple of times to explore those villages and a few other interesting things along the way too. Now, as you walk around Stourport-on-Severn, it is self-evident there are several buildings around which used to have a former life connected to the canal, even though they're not right on the canal. This one here is at Lichfield Street. And this one here used to be home to a former chandler's providing goods and materials for the leisure industry on the canal now. But it used to be part of the London and North Western Railway and the Shropshire Union Canal, which we came across previously on the Severn Way on the Montgomery Canal. Interesting to note, if you are interested in canals, that the Montgomery has had a new extension, and David from Cruising the Cut has just put out a brilliant video showing you all about it. So here we are back on the basins again at Stourport-on-Severn. They really are quite a magnificent sight, aren't they? Now, though I'd like to show you more around the canal today, unfortunately we've got the Severn Way to complete, so let's crack on down to Sabrina. So here we are, back on the Severn Way again. Stourport-on-Severn behind us. Still got some few buildings here, factory buildings. Perhaps they were once served by goods coming up and down the river, up from the Bristol and the Bristol Channel at some point. Probably now road. There's no wharf here. There's no like industrial wharfs. Everything now in Stourport-on-Severn is geared entirely around the boating for the leisure industry, and there's lots of narrow boats doing just that very thing here in Stourport. We have got, as I say, a couple of villages. One of those is called Holt and another one is called Grimley, although it isn't supposed to be grim, so it should be a really nice place. And a place just before then is a location called Holt Fleet. I'm not sure why it has that connotation, Fleet. I think it's maybe a marina around that area. And at that point we cross over the River Severn and head down. So as you're looking at the map at the moment, if you've got this River Severn right in front of you, we're going down south on the right hand side of the river. And at Holt Fleet we cross over the bridge and then head down left. Around Grimley also there is a little diversion. We diverge away from the Severn at that point and head inland for a little bit. I'm not sure the reason for that, to do perhaps with land ownership and rights of way, that sort of thing. But it also brings the level of the Severn way up, so if the Severn is in time of flood then you won't be getting your feet wet or worse. In terms of logistics for today's route, I caught the train to Worcester, the easy journey for me from where I live, through train, and then another train to the town of Kidderminster again, and outside the town hall, just waited about, I think it's 15 minutes or so, the Diamond Bus Company bus number 3 to Stourport-on-Severn. Still, of course, £2 at the moment because of the government concession, which I think goes on into October. I can't remember the exact date. Perhaps it's to the end of October. So yeah, that continues right through. So that's a really good public transport. And of course, I'm walking straight down to Worcester, so it's an easy journey back to the railway station and then catching the train back. In terms of the weather today, it's still quite humid, unfortunately. We had some very heavy rain yesterday, so a little bit sticky in places, the Severn Way at the moment. We are expecting thunderstorms later, I think around about 5 o'clock, so by the time I get to Worcester you might hear some thunder. They haven't forecast rain though, probably get some rain tomorrow, so it should be dry all day today, mainly sunny spells, probably getting up to about 26 degrees. Now past Redstone Rock on the opposite side, just insert a clip of that, and that is where there are caves, and again, like we've seen before on the Severn Way, reputed to have been lived in by hermits, and the hermits were also supposed to have operated the ferry which once ran from that bank of the River Severn to the Stourport side. I'm just going through a bridge now, through a bridge, crossing the entrance to Stourport Marina, which is just over that way. And the other thing to note, worth mentioning, is that I saw that huge boat, and I have seen that boat before. I've seen it at Sharpness Docks a little while ago, so it's obviously come up the River Severn, as a lot of the narrow boats as well do, but absolutely it's substantially, it's a live-in board don't know how many people live on that. It's extraordinary. Yeah, I think it's called Vic 99. I don't know if the history on that, but I'll see if I can find that out, what it originally was used for. I'll put it in the usual way below. So yeah, so that was the rocks over there, the red sandstone rocks, and we're now leaving Stourport Marina, continuing our journey south to Worcester. And now I'm just passing the Aston Manor cider factory, just that side there as well. The obligatory insert of the 7-way footpath sign. That's the first one I've seen out of leaving Stourport-on-Severn. The condition of the footpath though is all good. So that's the cider factory behind the Aston Manor. There is a wharf there too, and I noticed that in the wharf there are railway tracks. There wasn't a railway that went through there because we're on the banks of the Severn, but it's possible, or highly probable I think, that they had a movable crane on that wharf at some point and it travelled backwards and forwards along the cider wharf, probably wasn't called cider wharf then, to move the crane up and down it to load and unload goods onto boats on the River Severn. This here is Lincoln Weir. It's actually the other side of those caravans there. You can just see the caravans there. So you have a weir here and you have these orange markers. So obviously the boats have to stay this side of it because of the weir there. According to my notes, this is the most northerly weir on the River Severn, but we will come across many, many more as we make our way south to the city of Gloucester. So that there is Lincoln Lock. You've got to have a weir, of course you've got to have a lock to bring down the craft down to the same level that the water's dropping down over the weir, of course. And as you saw there, the gates are operated automatically. It's run by the Canals and River Trust, the navigable section here between Stourport and Gloucester, where it joins the Gloucester-Sharp-Mess Canal. Operating times between 8 AM and 6 PM in the evening. Also got an indicator board telling you what the conditions are like on the River Severn for navigability in terms of strength of current. Good to report that everything is A-OK, all green lights all the way today. So we've had quite a straight section here. We're out of the wooded section now, which is always tricky filming because you get lots of light and shade, either it appears too bright or too dark. This behind me is a horse jumping field, or two fields in fact. It's quite sizable. I haven't filmed too much because we've been going through some caravan parks of people on holiday and permanent residents too, and obviously I don't want to intrude on their privacy. We're making our way down to Holt, or Holt Fleet should I say first of all. I've just gone past on that side a place called the Berth, where there is a pub called the Harbour Inn, but unfortunately because of the tree growth this time in high summer it was impossible to get a shot of it. Anyway, our journey continues south to Holt Fleet. Well, I've decided to come here for a stop at the moment. Nice wide open space, the grass is dry. I think we're about a mile and a half from Holt Fleet, but I need to get some water on board. It's a very humid day. I've been perspiring a lot, so I need to get some water in me and a piece of fruit or something, just a snack to get me going, because breakfast was a long time ago. It was at 5:30 this morning. It's now getting up for 12 o'clock, but I will have my proper lunch when I get to Holt. So the journey continues after a break here. So I feel refreshed now. I had a satsuma and some water, and I just relaxed there, just for a few minutes by the grass there, just listening to the sound of the birds. Nobody else around this section of the Severn Way at all. Our journey after that field continues into this nice cooling wood. So we have a most delightful spot here. This is Mutton Hall. Just caught a clip of the cottage there that's called Mutton Hall. And you have these moorings down here for the river cruisers. Also, behind me here, you have this rather lovely lake too. It's a bit of a shade with the trees, not too thick, so it's quite good for filming as well. So we're quite close to Holt Fleet now, not too bad. It was a bit of a schlep that bit to get here to the moorings though, but yeah, it's not too far to get to Holt Fleet, so I'm looking forward to a longer rest and some lunch when I get there. But yeah, still beautiful day. The rain hasn't come as was what may have promised in terms of the grey clouds when I was at Stourport, but they seem to have skittled off, and we've just got blue sky now, and yeah, just a tremendous bit following the river down towards Holt. And behind me there is Holt Lock, similar to Lincoln Lock there. There is another section of the River Severn. You may be able to hear it on the Weir, so it's like a little island in the middle, dividing up the two sections, the Weir bit on the other side here. But that's the lock that the vessels go through down to Gloucester and up to Stourport-on-Severn. So the bridge behind me there, pointing in that direction, is Holt Bridge. It's the first road bridge working your way south from the town of Stourport-on-Severn, first road bridge that we've seen, and it's the last bridge working yourself north from the City of Worcester. Worcester Bridge is the first bridge which is accessible by road. I do believe that's incorrect. I'll put a subtitle in the usual way below. But we need to make our way over towards that bridge and to cross the bridge to get to the village of Holt, which is just over there on the other side behind me. Well, that was an interesting bit. I was hoping to do a piece to camera down by Holt Fleet Hotel, pub, restaurant, whatever you want to call it. It looks an interesting place. They've got these pods there which you can reserve, and so you can sit outside, well, sort of outside, overlooking the river when it's inclement. Talking of inclement, as I got there, just climbed up to the bridge. There is a shop, by the way. There is a shop in Holt Fleet. So as you're walking up to the main road that goes across the bridge, instead of turning right onto the bridge, turn left a very short distance and it's on the opposite side of the road. Very good convenience store there. It's quite reasonable priced as well. That's quite handy. I didn't go into Holt Fleet pub because, well, I don't drink and it was very, very busy and noisy, so I wanted to get out away from that. So I'm walking along a track now which is taking me to Holt Hamlet, where there is a castle and a church, and that's where I'm going to stop proper for lunch, although it is now getting rather late for lunch. But I did manage to buy a cup of some Diet Coke and some water. I don't really have Diet Coke, but I just needed something really cold to refresh me, and another bottle of cold water, so that was useful there. And we'll continue here, just to let you know that the footpath of Severn Way, you actually walk through the Holt Fleet, where all the people are dining and sitting. The public footpath goes right through the middle of all of that, right to the very far end, through the car park, and then on the right hand side you'll see a gap. Walk along there through some scrubby grass, and then the footpath then starts to climb uphill until you then join the footpath, or the drive that I'm on now, which is obviously a farmer's track. So see you at Holt in a bit. Now, I've really felt like I've needed a rest. I've come to rest in Holt Churchyard. Beautiful little hamlet. We have an 11th century church. I'm going to show you inside that now. It says that it's open here, which is brilliant. There's also, I think, an 11th century castle. I'll just insert some images I've just taken of that too. Beautiful place. It's so quiet here compared to Holt Fleet. A couple of things about Holt Fleet. First of all, crossing that bridge. Be very, very careful crossing that bridge, because the pavements, which are on both sides of the road, I'm not sure where that road goes to and from. I'll insert that now, but it's very busy. You also have these very large, wide agricultural vehicles going at speed across it. So you really need to keep quite in and tucked in, because I found it really difficult getting shots across the River Severn, so they won't be the best, because they were literally just grab footage and grab photos. It was also raining and very noisy, so apologies for the quality of the images around that area, because I wanted to just come and chill out somewhere nice and quiet. I'm glad I did. The other thing I saw, and I didn't have a chance to photograph it, was that bridge was originally built by Thomas Telford. I think That's the original abutments. I'll just insert a shot that I took from one side of it before I went onto the bridge and I went over to that convenience store. You've got the familiar red sandstone, which we've seen many times now on the Severn Way. And there must have been a Thomas Telford bridge. What year it was built, I don't know. I'll find that out and put that in there now, I'm guessing earlier part of the 19th century. And obviously later on it's been replaced, perhaps earlier part of the 20th century as traffic volumes increased. Anyway, I'm going to show you around here at Holt before we continue our journey today onto the village of Grimley. So this church here was restored by the Earl of Dudley in 1859. I just found the light switch. It was a bit dark earlier on, a bit grainier, so hopefully it's a little bit better now. I've just changed the white balance to beautiful church here. I'm not sure if it's late Norman or early English decorated, but it's certainly 11th century in style. Fantastic pulpit. An amazing baptismal font too. Look at that design. It's a beautiful little church. Such a peaceful place too. Now I've just been looking at my notes and it says there's been a settlement here since Saxon times, when a village developed around the castle and the church. And the manor was granted to Urso da Abito. Come across that name Dabito before. There's a couple of villages in this part of the world with that. Who built the original castle. After his death, the manor passed to Walter de Beauchamp, who had married Urso's daughter. The name Holt comes from a Saxon word meaning wood. The location was well chosen for its defensive position against the Welsh marchers. Well, our walk continues down this country lane, and then it'll be going across fields till we get to the village of Grimley. Now, that's handy that the local landowner here has actually put up a brand new sign giving us a clear indication of where we're supposed to be going. It always pleases me when I see new Severn Way signs. It means that the councils that be, in this case Worcestershire, are on the ball. So thank you, Worcestershire County Council again. So I'm just resting a while here at Grimley. I've got some water, Grimley churchyard. That's that field I showed you. That's the one that's full of courgettes just over the other side of the churchyard wall here. Excuse the noise in the background. Oh, that's my water bottle popping. That's the children are just coming out of school, so it'll quiet down in a minute. I won't show you around the church here because I really need to crack on to Worcester, because I want to show you a bit of Worcester today before I catch my train back home. And I will show you some more of it next time as we continue our walk south through the city centre as well. But we'll get some highlights of it. But yeah, it's a little bit warm today. That's the only trouble. I think it's still about 26 degrees. The rain stopped though, so that's good. I'm really enjoying the walk. It's good to see that wild flower meadow back there as well. I managed to see a marble white on a thistle, I think it was. Got a shot of that. So that was really good to see. But anyway, we're going to continue now, and we're going to rejoin the edge of the river. So as I say, we're on the opposite side of the river now. So we'll be following it. We'll have Sabrina on my right, on your left, as we're heading the way down towards the city of Worcester. Yes, I know I said I wouldn't show you the church, but I just wanted to point this bit out here. You've got these neo-Gothic columns here with a staircase on the outside, just after the main entrance, the port entrance there, which takes you up to a staircase that goes up to the tower of the church. Of course, it's locked. There is a door there, of course, preventing you go right up to the belfry. But yes, this is a wonderful design. So yes, we've caught up with Sabrina again. Just made a shallow gradient down from the village of Grimley. And we need to head across that little wooden bridge there off a little stream and follow Sabrina with her on my left, your right, all the way to the city of Worcester. Here we go. There is the Malvern Hills, and as you know, if you watch my channel regularly, I've done 4 videos in the Malvern Hills now, one not that long ago. I think it was the day after the coronation, I think. Yeah, so that's my favourite place in the whole of the West Country Wanderings region that I cover. So you can see Worcestershire Beacon there on the left of the 2 peaks. And we're going to make our way continuing down there. I think there's a spire there too. I'm not sure what church that is. One that's probably in the suburb of the city. And you can see, because we're in high summer now, how low the level of the River Severn is here. Now that location over there is somewhere we've been on West Country Wanderings before. If I give you a clue, it's where a canal, a navigable canal that was restored in 2011, joins the River Severn, the navigable section of the River Severn. Does anybody know? 2011, they had to get it under the M5. There's a big clue there. I walked the entire length of it about a year ago from the town to here, to this point where it joins the river. And it's about I think it was about a 6-mile walk. 6-mile walk back again, of course, back to this town's railway station. And yes, it's where the Droitwich Canal joins the River Severn. An unusual property there. It looks like it's got a circular glass roof right on the edge of the river. Not sure how that comes off when we're in time of flood though. Now, although it doesn't look like we're actually in Worcester now, we're actually near Barbourne. On the other side of the river is the racecourse, but I can't see it at the moment because of the trees and shrubbery. So now I'm in Worcester. I've had to make that diversion and follow a main road till I can head back down towards Sabrina again. We're going to be on this for a little way. Now what I'm thinking of doing is doing a 7-way video, a 17A, similar to what I did at Shrewsbury. Do a standalone video so I can show you around this wonderful city properly, because I really am not going to have time to do it today, because I'm going to be able to get down to the Severn, close the video off, and then I'll need to head to the railway station because it's coming up about 6 o'clock now. You can see the horses being cooled down there that have just finished the race with buckets of water. That's is it called the coxswain? Tannoying to the rowers in the river there as well.
Okay, we're on 30, now we're going to drop the split. I'm focusing on power, not race. Let's go 10 hard ones, let's drop that split. Go! Break the front plate.
So that there is a station I sometimes listen to. That is the HQ of BBC Hereford and Worcester, covering both of the two counties of Herefordshire and Worcestershire. Why am I showing you that? Well, immediately opposite it is, so yes, there we go, Sabrina Bridge, and 62 metres long, 3 metres wide, and 20 metres high on the A-frame. From the main height, it's 7 metres above the water level of the river, weighing 120 tonnes. It doesn't say the year it opened, and I think, if my memory serves me correctly, it was 1992. Made it here to the City of Worcester a bit later than I anticipated. My pace rate was lower because of the high humidity and the high temperature. The sun was out. After it rained, the sun came out and I got really, really hot and thirsty, and I didn't have quite enough water with me, so I was glad of popping into the garage there on the Hennick Road as I came into Worcester, but I could have done without the diversion, although I understand why the diversion's there, and it will be really good when that footbridge at Keep Pack's going across the country park there, so you got the figure of 8 utilising the 7-way to encourage more people to walk and cycle around this wonderful city of Worcester in Worcestershire, of course. I will come back here again. It may or may not arrive before the next 7-way, but I will do a separate video showing you around this wonderful city here in Worcester. I'm not going to be able to do justice this evening because I need to get over to Worcester Shrub Hill to catch my train back to Gloucestershire. I am feeling rather tired now, but I hope you have enjoyed this episode of the 7-way. There will be another one. The next one, as I said, there'll be one as a standalone on the city itself, but the next proper one will be when we return to Sabrina and make our way south here from the City of Worcester down to the beautiful town of Stourport-on-Severn. I have covered Upton a little bit before as a standalone video on that one, but I'll be delighted to show you how you get there on foot from this city here. I'd love to know what you think. We're making our way to Bristol. We're getting there. We're well on our way now. We're well over 2/3 of the way now. I think I worked it out. I got about 7 more episodes, which should take us down to the city of Bristol. So I hope you're enjoying this series. Love to know what you think. Oh, if you want to check out my Facebook group, if you've walked along any of the 7-way, and I know a couple of people have already done this, if you walked along any of the 7-way at all yourselves, please share your photographs on there. And a couple of people have already done that on the channel, so just go onto Facebook, tap in West Country Wanderings, request to join the group, and there you can upload your own photographs of the region that I cover here on YouTube. Take care of yourselves, look after yourselves. I hope to see you on the channel again very soon. All the best for now. Bye bye.